Merry Christmas Eve to all those who celebrate and to those that don't. Happy December 24th. We got an interesting one in store for today. Thank you guys for taking the time to tune in here. Welcome to Phillies Daily, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Henley. Make sure you guys subscribe for more Phillies content right here on Phillies Daily. You guys know you mean the world to me. I appreciate each and every single one of you, everyone that's been here since the beginning, everyone that's joined along the way, and everybody that continues to join this journey. Let's dive right into it, starting with Trea Turner. Now, Trea Turner, he's kind of been a polarizing figure here in Philadelphia since the Phillies signed him to that big 11-year, $300 million contract a few years ago. Obviously, he started off kind of struggling his Phillies career, got that standing ovation, and then things kind of turned around for Trea Turner, and he's been pretty good. He was an All-Star Game starter in 2024, really should have been an All-Star this past year in 2025, which is why I say this was kind of a year of snubs for Trea Turner. Did he deserve more recognition in 2025? With personal awards, achievements, all that kind of stuff recognized by the MLB. Again, he wasn't an all-star and he wasn't a silver slugger in 2025, despite having a very, very good year and honestly probably one of the better years of his career. And that says a lot because Trea Turner has been one of the better players in Major League Baseball since he debuted back with the Washington Nationals, probably about 10 years ago or so now. So it was kind of interesting, kind of odd that Trea Turner didn't get as much recognition, but however, he did get recognized to the all award list team. Now, that's not an actual team, that's not an actual award, but Trea Turner made MLB.com's Anthony Castrovince's all award list team for 2025. Those are players that just didn't win any of the major awards, whether it was MVP or anything like that. Just tough years for them, had still an incredible seasons, only really a handful of guys can win those awards anyway. So that's just that. And Trea Turner was named to the all award list team for 2025, as crazy and silly as it sounds. Now, Trea Turner, again, had an incredible season. He won the National League batting title with a .304 batting average. Now, obviously, that's not as high as it was in years past and how it was back in the day, but still, obviously, the top batting average in the National League for Trea Turner, so that's something to be very proud about if you are him and if you are the Phillies. Trea Turner also had the highest on-base percentage at .355 and his highest OPS at .812 and his highest B-WAR at 5.4 in 2025 since the 2021 season. He was with the Los Angeles Dodgers, I believe, back then. So very, very good season for Trea Turner, bouncing back from not tough years, but obviously getting back to where he was when he was kind of considered like a top 10, top 15 player in Major League Baseball. Not just a shortstop, not just an infielder, not just in his respective league, but one of the top players in all of Major League Baseball. And he really got back to that this past year in 2025. He hit 31 doubles, 7 triples, which was his most triples in a season since 2016. 15 home runs, 69 RBIs, 36 stolen bases, which was his most stolen bases in a season since 2018. He finished 5th in National League MVP voting, and he played significantly better defense than he had in previous years, and really probably one of the better defensive seasons of his entire Major League career here at shortstop. He had a .984 fielding percentage, which is the best of his career in a season at the shortstop position. Now, I say at the shortstop position because he has had Major League experience at both second base and outfield earlier in his career as well, which he had a little bit of better fielding percentage either in one of them or both of them, I don't know, but still best fielding percentage in a playing shortstop for a full season for Trea Turner. So credit to him because we all know he had some struggles in the past defensively, especially in years past to start his Phillies career, but big rebound, and it was great to see for Trea Turner because obviously a season like this is what you like to see, maybe a little bit more production and power-wise, but if you're getting on base, if you're doing your job at the top of the order, stealing bases, being a problem on the base pass, playing good defense, then it's really nothing to be mad about if you're the Phillies, if you're Trea Turner. He's still producing, and honestly, again, he should have been an all-star, possibly could have been a silver slugger, obviously won the National League batting title, so he unfortunately was snubbed all year long, but he gets recognized as the all awardless shortstop here for 2025. Speaking of shortstops, one of the top shortstops, or probably the top shortstop available here in free agency, one of the better, I guess, shortstops really in Major League Baseball, Bo Bichette is still available in free agency to this point as we approach the new year. Kind of crazy, but sometimes these things drag along here in free agency with some of these top names trying to navigate through which teams are offering them the best deals, trying to maybe get a little bit more extra money out of some of these teams. So Bo Bichette is still available. Now, I did explore the option of signing Alex Bregman, the all-star third baseman, formerly with the Boston Red Sox and Houston Astros. In the previous video, you can go check that out here on Phillies Daily if you did not see that. That was in my previous video, as I said. Today, we are discussing the idea of signing Bo Bichette. I've talked about it before, but here we are again because he's still available, and he's still obviously one of the better players available for any team to sign in free agency. Now, he's a shortstop. He's only played shortstop in the regular season during his major league career. He's DH stump. He played, I think, a little bit of second base this past playoffs for the Blue Jays in the World Series against the Dodgers, but he's been primarily a shortstop. However, he did recently state publicly to teams that he is willing to make a switch to second base if need be. So there's versatility there between shortstop and second base for Bo Bichette. And honestly, probably a better, at least average hitter than Alex Bregman here. If they were to sign one of these top free agent infielders, he's a career .294 hitter. That is Bo Bichette. He does have some power, probably not as much power as Alex Bregman offers, and some other options, but still some power. He has 20 or more home runs in he had 20 or more home runs in 3 straight years from 2021 to 2023. With the Blue Jays, he had a career high 29 home runs back in 2021 with the Blue Jays. Now, he should be good for 25 plus home runs because if the Phillies were to sign him, because obviously Citizens Bank Park is a very hitter-friendly ballpark. A lot of players have a lot of success getting some home runs, having some better offensive years and offensive numbers if you're an opposing player at Citizens Bank Park. So 20 plus home run kind of guy, but that could increase to 25, maybe even 30 plus in that kind of range for Bo Bichette if the Phillies were to sign him. So you could see an increase in power numbers for him to go along with his ability to hit around 300 or even higher than 300, which is just incredible and would be a huge asset to this Philadelphia Phillies lineup. Now, he's a right-handed hitter. The Phillies obviously have been looking to add some more right-handed bats. They got that with Adolis Garcia in the outfield and free agency here. But Bo Bichette, obviously, at this point, younger than Garcia, more sustained success, I should say, overall than Adolis Garcia. So you would add another right-handed bat, not necessarily a huge power bat, but again, a guy that can be a 25 to 30 probably home run kind of guy, especially at Citizens Bank Park playing for the Phillies. And then obviously Bryson Stott is a left-handed hitter, second baseman. So if the Phillies were to sign Bo Bichette, he'd likely play second base here for the Phillies, which would mean the end of Bryson Stott here in Philadelphia, most likely. And then again, that adds another right-handed hitter in your lineup and takes away a left-handed hitter in Bryson Stott. So it kind of evens out your lineup the way the Phillies would like it. Bo Bichette had a very, very good season in 2025 with the Blue Jays. He batted .311 with a .357 on-base percentage, .483 slugging, .840 OPS, 44 doubles, 1 triple, 18 home runs, so just fell shy of that 20 home run mark. However, he didn't play a full season. He missed some games. 94 RBIs still, 139 games played for Bo Bichette in 2025, so an incredible season for him. He did not play for the Blue Jays throughout most of the playoffs this past year in their playoff run all the way to the World Series. He was injured. However, he was on the World Series roster, and he did play in all of those games for the World Series for the Blue Jays, and he played pretty well. He batted .348 in the World Series with a home run and 6 RBIs in those games. Obviously, the Blue Jays did fall short to the Dodgers. The Dodgers were back-to-back World Series champions, but Bo Bichette, incredible year in the regular season, incredible playoffs run in the World Series with the Blue Jays despite them losing. Kind of an average defender at shortstop in league average terms. Nothing crazy. He can offer you some good things, but again, he may switch to second base and probably would here with the Phillies if they were to sign him. And he's still in his prime. He's still young enough. He's 27 right now, but he will be 28 coming up here shortly throughout the 2026 season. But he's likely going to cost a lot of money, just like I mentioned Alex Bregman will. Probably going to be in that 5 to 6 year kind of range. Like I mentioned, Alex Bregman probably will land as well in free agency on a new contract for Bo Bichette, and probably in like the $150 to $170 million range, depending on the amount of years that he is being offered. So a lot of money, a lot of commitment to Bo Bichette. But again, he can hit 300. He can hit 25 or more home runs. He can do a lot of good things for you in the lineup. He can drive in runs. He hits doubles, obviously 44 this past year in 2025. That is incredible. And he's still young enough. He's versatile in the field, shortstop, second base, so offers you a lot here, and that would be a good investment, in my opinion, for the Phillies to make. And how would Bo Bichette affect the Phillies infield? How would it work to sign Bo Bichette? Obviously, you would have to do some shuffling around in your infield because the Phillies infield right now is very, very crowded. They have Bryce Harper signed long-term as the first baseman right now. They have Trea Turner obviously signed through 2033, long-term shortstop there for the Phillies. Maybe he switches to second base later in his career as well, but right now, he is their shortstop, so that leaves third base and second base. Right now they have Alec Bohm, all-star caliber third baseman. However, he's been in trade rumors. I mentioned the possibility of trading Alec Bohm to open up a spot for Alex Bregman to come in. But Alec Bohm, he's going to be a free agent after the 2026 season, so he may not even be back after this year. And then you have Bryson Stott, who kind of fell into that platoon situation, never really turned into that everyday guy that the Phillies were hoping he could be. And then they have other options like Otto Kemp. Weston Wilson can play the infield, and Mundo Sosa, obviously. But that second base spot is likely where Bo Bichette would land with the Phillies if they were to sign him, which I would think obviously would end Bryson Stott's tenure here with the Phillies if they signed Bo Bichette, just to make room for him to be the everyday second baseman with the Phillies. So that would mean you would have Bo Bichette or Trea Turner at shortstop or second base, or vice versa, depending on how the Phillies would like to do that. Bo Bichette can play shortstop, he can play second base. Trea Turner can play shortstop, he can play second base. So there's that option for the Phillies. And then, again, Trea Turner does have some experience, albeit not that much experience, but some experience at second base in his major league career. And again, as he gets older, might be the better fit for him to kind of play on that side of the infield. A little bit easier, it's not easy, but a little bit easier than playing on the left side, third base, shortstop. And that also opens the door if you were to get rid of Bryson Stott. That opens the door for their top infield prospect, their number 2 overall prospect, the Phillies, Aiden Miller, to be the full-time third baseman after 2026, in my opinion, because, again, if you trade either Bryson Stott or you trade Alec Bohm, then that opens a spot either at third base or second base. If you sign Bo Bichette, then he slides into second base, then you have an opening at third base after 2026 if Alec Bohm is not brought back. I don't know if he will be, or if the Phillies end up trading Alec Bohm too, or just trade Alec Bohm and keep Bryson Stott to play around and do whatever. Then that still opens up a spot at third base for a guy like Aiden Miller to make his debut. I talked about Aiden Miller in the previous video as well. You can go check it out here on Phillies Daily if you did not catch that one. It was a good video, in my opinion, talking about Aiden Miller. But still, that opens the door for Aiden Miller to join the Phillies infield. Opens up some room for him. He's been a shortstop in the minors throughout his career. Played some third base in high school. But a lot of scouts do believe that he could transition back to third base in the MLB. However, the Phillies view him as a shortstop right now. But again, the Phillies have Trea Turner locked in long-term at shortstop. If they sign a guy like Bo Bichette, that's a guy that plays shortstop as well, second base. So Aiden Miller would end up being the third baseman because Alec Bohm, again, is a free agent after the 2026 season, and he could be traded this offseason still, or maybe even at the deadline, depending on what happens. A lot of interesting things happening for the Phillies, so stay tuned with us here all offseason. Stay tuned with us heading into spring training through the 2026 season and beyond. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Merry Christmas Eve again to those who celebrate, and as always, go Phils.